and then we will start the presentation. This presentation is being recorded, and so if you don't want to be seen, then keep your camera off. And normally it is recorded for the benefit of those who are not here tonight, and it will be posted so that they can hear the presentation. So let me introduce myself, and some of you might have already met both of us during your visit. My name is Akola Gwek. I am the recruitment and retention coordinator here at Rubenstein School. I am a UBM alum 3 times. I have been at UBM since 2002. Kathy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kathy Shigagatulo. I use she, her pronouns. I am one of the professional advisors with the student services team for the Rubenstein School. I may have met some of you at admitted student visit days. And my son is an alumni of UVM as well. Welcome.
Thank you. If I may add, I use he, him pronouns. And so just to summarize what this presentation is about, this is for Rubenstein School student, new student, first time, first year student, and also 21st student who are admitted to Rubenstein School and who have decided to attend Rubenstein School comes fall 2025. So if you think you don't belong there here, then this is the time to lock out. But otherwise, you are all welcome to this presentation. We will talk about Rubenstein School briefly, and also talks about the services that we offer and that are also offered across the university. And then we will get into the detail of what you are here tonight, which is talking about course registration for the fall and upcoming academic advising. So without further ado, I will begin. Kathy and I will be alternating presenting tonight, but I will begin with the first slide. If you have visited UBM either as a prospective student or as an admitted student, then you must have seen these facilities, some of these facilities. The Rubenstein School is the School of Environment and Natural Resources here at the University of Vermont. We are part of 7 academic units, 7 schools and 7 colleges and schools across the University of Vermont. We are located in this building right here, Aiken Center. And I believe if you visited UBM, you must have passed through this building through one of your tours. And if you came during the admitted student visit days, then you had your breakout session here in this building. This is the home to Rubenstein School. This will be your academic home for the next 4 years. This building is, we call it a living building. As you can see here, on top is a green roof. It has 8 water jets. And one of the few things that I can mention right off the bat, and you must have heard it many times, is that we are the only, Aiken Center is the only net zero building right now here on campus. We also have other facilities that support your learning. Rubenstein School Ecosystem Science Lab, which is this building, is located right on Lake Champlain. And right there. And we do the research, faculty do the research, and also students do the teaching field experience there. And right at the bottom, right here, it is the nearboard hydroelectric fuel efficient research vessel, which is kind of docked next to this building. right on Lake Champlain. I can guarantee that you will use this boat once you are here in one of your field trips. And down the street right here, about less than a mile from where I am, is a forestry sciences lab on Spear Street, which also supports student learning. We have access to natural areas across Vermont, 4 research forests throughout Vermont, and access to 10 UBM natural areas. The takeaway from this slide is Vermont is the natural lab to study the environment, and you have the access to the resources and facilities that will support your learning. And just to mention, this picture is it is showing, the imaging from one of our drones, which is actually managed by our spatial analysis lab here in the building. And this was one of the projects that they do to map out the floods last year, 2 years ago here in Vermont. And so there are cool things that are happening. I will turn it over to my colleague Kathy to talk about the curriculum.
Thanks, Nicole. So we will be talking about what is on your individual schedules, especially in our upcoming advising meetings. Hopefully you have scheduled yourself for one of the advising meetings that we sent an email about. We've sent a couple of reminders already. If there are any issues with scheduling that, please respond to that email so that we can work something else out if you can't make one of the group advising sessions. But before we talk about your individual schedules, we thought it would be helpful to take a look at the overall curriculum that you will be working your way through over the next 4 years. It starts with, if you're looking at this diagram, it starts with that outer circle, which is the University Catamount core curriculum. So as a liberal arts institution, UVM requires all students, no matter their college, no matter their major, to take courses in a wide breadth of subjects, and everything from liberal arts to core skills to courses that address our university common ground values. And Nicole is going to talk about our common ground values a little more in just a bit. So I'm going to delve into the Catamount core in the next slide. But first, I want to talk about the Rubenstein School core curriculum. So in addition to these general education courses that all UVM students take, all Rubenstein students take our Rubenstein core curriculum, which is shown in the tree graphic to the right of the circular graphic. These are courses that all Rubenstein students take no matter their major. So they expose you to knowledge areas and learning outcomes that our faculty have determined are important for the kind of interdisciplinary environmental work that we're preparing you for. And these concepts are taught through field experiences, labs, policy conversations, working on real-world environmental issues, service learning, project-based work, so that regardless of your major, you graduate with the confidence to successfully integrate and apply the knowledge you get in these courses across disciplines in your personal and professional lives. And I'm speaking with my career coach cap on for the moment. The other nice thing about the Rubenstein core curriculum is that since you are working with students in all of the majors at Rubenstein, there are also community building experiences. You get to meet and make friends with students who are not in your major, the classes in your major. So finally, in the center, that smallest circle, those are the courses that you'll be taking for your particular major. We call them programs. So that's the essence of what you've chosen to study and what you'll eventually apply to your career. And again, integrating all of the knowledge and experiences you've gotten through the Rubenstein core curriculum classes as well. Thanks, Nicole. So back to the Catamount core curriculum. So the Catamount core is 42 classes of these kind of general education courses that you must take in order to graduate from UVM. And 42 classes sounds like a lot, and it is. However, a lot of these courses are going to be double counted with courses that you take either in the Rubenstein core curriculum or courses in your major. So, for example, our majors need to take some kind of math, and that satisfies in the core skills. In the liberal arts skills, the mathematics requirement, for example, you need to take natural sciences. So you'll take that, and that will also satisfy the liberal arts requirement. You'll take a race and culture and natural resources course for the Rubenstein core curriculum. That will satisfy one of the common ground diversity requirements for the Catamount core. So there are things to be aware of, and you will work with your advisor to kind of plan out how the things that are not covered by things you already have to take, how you're going to fit those into your 8 semesters while you're here at UVM. So also through the core curriculum, all of our students engage in experiential learning through fieldwork, labs, service learning, through our courses, etc. A lot of our students also engage in experiential learning by taking on an internship or participating in undergraduate research, either with faculty or with graduate students or with community partners. And those opportunities are available to you from UVM campus to abroad, actually, throughout Vermont, throughout the country. And your advisor, as well as our experiential learning coordinator, will help you kind of figure out where you can look for something to pursue an interest, potentially pursue credit for those experiences. There's funding available to support students who might be participating in an unpaid or underpaid internship or opportunity. And you can start to take advantage of some of that even in your first year. And then another very popular experiential learning opportunity is to study away or study abroad. And there are a lot of opportunities that our students take advantage of in varying amounts of time, everything from a spring break experience to a full semester to a summer in locations across the world. And again, that's something that you'll work on when you're planning with your advisor.
Now, let me take over. And this, bear in mind, this is the slide that I have just shown here, talks about who we are, not just Rubenstein School, but as University of Vermont. It talks about the values we have, the common ground values. And these are the values we hold ourselves up to. And these are the values we hold near and dear to our hearts. And these are the values we expect any member of the community, whether a professor, a faculty, a staff, or a student, should subscribe to. And I can begin with a quote from educator and philosopher John Dewey. Some of you might have read his work during your high school. And he's a UVM alum, class of 1897. And by the way, he's the only person buried here on campus. His quote is, "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." Education is life itself. And I think I personally, as a call, actually believe in that. And so out of that, we come up with these common ground values. Respect. We listen, encourage, and care about each other. We take care of each other here at the University of Vermont. Faculty, staff, our student, you, and our lab. And of course, any member of the community that is affiliated to us, we take care of each other. We hold each other to the highest integrity, honesty, and ethical responsibilities that are entrusted to us. In other words, every interaction we have, everything we do it with expectation of high ethical standards. And that is what we hold ourselves up to, all of us, from faculty to a student to staff to allow. Of course, innovation is at the core of what we do, and this is not just UBM. This is what education is all about. It's about creating new things, looking at new ways of doing things. That is what learning is all about. Being at the forefront of change, learning from successes and mistakes, and continuing to grow out of our experiences. And so this is what we do. This is what you learn in the classroom. This is what you do in your field work. This is what you do in whatever you engage in here on campus. And of course, as a community, as an academic community, we are open to collaboration and full participation of all members of our community. In other words, you are absolutely supported, encouraged, and welcome to contribute your ideas. And we as a community are going to be open to that. And of course, justice is at the core of the University of Vermont. Rejection of all forms of injustice is something that UBM strive, is UBM work hard to uphold. And as I told you earlier, as a UBM alum 3 times coming from Africa, I have not left this campus since the fall of 2002. And that shows how inclusive and how supportive this community is. And finally, responsibility is always important. Uh, Being responsible, taking responsibility for our words and deeds is absolutely critical for what we do. Otherwise, if you don't take responsibility for what you do, or if you don't take responsibility for your actions, then you might be abdicating your responsibilities. So that is something UBM uphold. And right, I'm just looking through the window right here. That is Debbie Center. Most of you who have visited UBM have just walked through that building. And outside here are stones outside this building, and on them are these 8 common ground values written on each stones. And that shows you what we value as a community. Let me switch the gear and talks about now out of common ground values. We point out academic integrity. And again, academic integrity here is, in a simple word, do your own work. And I think your teachers and members of your education community in your high school have spoken to it in one way or another. And so, what academic integrity actually means is do your own work. And if you have to use other people's work or other people's ideas, either verbally or through written work, then you have to cite them appropriately. Give a good academic attribution to them, because intellectual property, your idea is your intellectual property. And if a call awake take your idea and tries to claim that as his, as mine, then I would have robbed you of your property. And so, yes, we as academic community encourage each other to use each other idea. That is how we learn. But just remember to cite them. Remember to quote them appropriately. Remember to give attribution where it is due. Now, as you probably know, artificial intelligence is being used in the last few years. Is being used. I could literally come up with an idea and have artificial intelligence spit out a document. I could even have my cover letter for a job application written by artificial intelligence right now. And so while it is a good tool, we still expect students to write their own works. And your work will be checked against that. So that's something I need to name. And of course, if you came during the visit, Marie Bem should have talked about showing up, asking questions, being kind. These are also things we hold near and dear to our heart. Showing up in what? Showing up personally and psychologically, wherever at spaces where you are. And being able to ask questions, being brave to ask questions is always important. And also being kind to yourself. Sometimes when things do not go your way, being kind to yourself is another way to actually ensure your success. Talking about services, yes, you do come here to Rubenstein School, but we as a University of Vermont have resources. University of Vermont as an institution have resources that are offered to all academic unit, to all students across the university, and those services are available for you. Support services for first generation student at UVM. Uh, Now, undergraduate writing center, tutoring center, advising and student services, which is these are kind of services we offer here at Rubenstein School. UVM library, student accessibility services. I could go down the list as you see on the screen. These are resources that are available to you here at UVM and at Rubenstein School to support your success. And so one of the advice we give you right now over the summer is to take time and go to our website and browse the websites for these support services, these resources, and find out what information they have out there to see what kind of opportunities you should take advantage of. In terms of your wellness, all the wellness services are offered through UBM Center for Health and Well-being, ranging from primary care, allergy clinic, nutrition services, counseling and psychiatry services, and health coaching. Again, right now you have a primary doctor and you have other specialists that support you. Once you are here at UBM, you will get all of these services through UBM Center for Health and Well-being. And those are already covered. Most of those are already covered by your insurance. And finally, we also have identity centers across the university, centers that support the students that identify themselves in this using these identities. Mosaic Center for a Student of Color that I have used since my undergraduate days, and even today, Women and Gender Equity Center, Interfaith Center, Prism Center, Veteran Services. These are again centers and offices that support a student that identify themselves in those particular identities, but they are open to all UBM students across the university. So if you do feel like you need support and resources and services from any of these centers, you are absolutely welcome to come to those centers. Again, we here as members of the student services team at Rubenstein School know all of these resources and bring any idea up during your meeting with your academic advisor, and they will point you to the right sources, and they can even give you the right context that you need if you want to talk to a particular person at any of these identity centers and all the other support resources that I mentioned earlier, and some of them that are not even listed here. Now, to end this part of my presentation before I hand it over to my colleague Kathy, is student involvement. UBM, since my undergraduate days, and that is like close to 23 years ago, is an active campus. We have a very involved, very engaged student body. And students do those either individually, but also through its club and organizations. We have close to 200 student club and organization right now. Please get to SGA, Student Government Association website, and just look, just browse on the website and check out those clubs and see what kind of clubs you will be involved in. We have some clubs that are affiliated with Rubenstein School, but all the clubs across the university are open to all students. So check them out. And if you do feel, and this is the great thing, if you do feel that uh, you need to found a new club, if none of the club doesn't interest you, then you are welcome to found your own one. You can recruit a student with similar ideas and found a new clubs. It is totally supported and encouraged by UBM. And so to switch the gear, I will turn it over to Kathy to talk about course registration and academic advising that you were here for tonight.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, I'll just reinforce what Nicole said about UVN clubs, and in particular Rubenstein clubs. Rubenstein has some very active clubs that are kind of welcome to everyone, no matter their major, like the Forestry Club, the Wildlife Society, which is a branch of the American Wildlife Society, Femmes in Forestry, Headwaters Magazine, which is a completely student-run environmental magazine. And then, as Nicole was mentioning, I had a student last year who started a herpetology club, which is now one of the most popular clubs on campus. There's a birding club, so there's lots of ways to engage with people who are like-minded or have similar interests. The student services team in Rubenstein is a really robust group of wonderful people who are all here to help and support you, answer all of your questions. You may recognize some of us. There's me and Nicole right there. You may recognize some of us from admitted student visit days. You may recognize our names from the bottom two lines. From the emails that you've received about scheduling advising meetings, please check your emails. And you can always reach out to RSENR Student Services. RSENR stands for Rubenstein School of Environment and Natural Resources. Student Services with general questions if you're not sure to ask. I've already gotten some great questions just in response to the advising email, so you can always reach back out to that advising email, that person. So, and the people who are doing the advising meetings may or may not be your assigned advisor, but we are all here to help you, whether it's through a meeting that you schedule with us, whether it's through answering emails or Teams messages, or through our drop-in hours, which we have every day for quick questions. So what you really want to know about is about registration. So this is a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be talking about in the group advising sessions that are coming up starting next week. You've already been scheduled into a full list of courses. You're already enrolled. So you don't have to worry about figuring out which classes you have to take or how the process works. That's November U's problem. In November, we're going to schedule, you're going to be registering for spring of 26, if you can believe it. And we'll deal with all of those processes and the nitty-gritty of that then. But for now, we've chosen classes based on your current declared major, or if you're undeclared, we've given you some general classes that open up paths in Rubenstein, depending on what major you choose. And we can make edits to your schedule through the summer, even through the first 2 weeks of classes, which is the drop add period. So for example, if you get your AP bio score in and it's a 4, then we can drop a bio class if it's on your schedule and replace it with something else. So that's what you're going to do with your advisor in your advising session. Then just a sneak peek into those advising meetings. Some of the classes that you are enrolled in here in the bottom paragraph are core curriculum classes, the Rubenstein core curriculum classes. All Rubenstein students take the first 2 core curriculum classes in their first semester. So you'll be taking NR 1010, which is Natural History and Human Ecology 1, and that's a 4-credit field-based lab course. So yes, there is a big lecture, but then there's a small lab group which goes out into the field and does everything from doing a fisheries lab on Lake Champlain to a dendrology lab in one of the research forests to snowshoeing, in Bolton. It's honestly everybody's favorite class. And then you'll also be taking NR 1050, which is a 1-credit discussion-based course called Critical Reflection and Dialogue. And in this class, you work with a small cohort of students and a facilitator to learn discussion-based skills that will prepare you for a class you take in the spring. I mentioned critical race and culture and natural resources, which is a 3-credit Rubenstein core curriculum course. And I have to tell you that our alumni have reported to me that this is one of the most useful courses they've taken because it allows them to talk across differences when they're, for example, working with landowners and doing, restoration projects, things like that. So you'll see those 2 courses in addition to other courses that are particularly for your major. Next slide, please. Okay, so, and then just some kind of general formatting questions. Most classes are either Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Tuesday and Thursday. So it depends on if it has a lab. The lab is only going to be once a week, but classes with lectures are generally formatted that way. There are 20 minutes built in between classes, which is plenty of time to get across campus. If I can get across campus in less than 20 minutes, so can you. And if there are issues, we can talk about that. And then the credit hours, I mentioned, one of your classes is 4 credits because it has a lab. One of your classes is 1 credit. That is what tells you how much time you're going to be spending in class per week. So roughly, it's 3 credits is 3 hours of class a week. 1 credit is 1 hour of class a week. Now, just a caveat, this does not include the time that you will need to study or do assignments for those classes. So 3 credits might mean 3 hours of in-class time, but then there is additional time that you need to figure out how much time you need to spend on reading or doing an assignment or meeting with a group. So time management is going to be something that you're going to be working on this first semester. Full-time student status is anywhere between 12 credits minimum or 19 credits. Our recommendation, we like to see our first semester students between 14 and 16 credits if we can make that happen. You may have taken 800 APs and been on a team and have worked a part-time job in high school, but don't underestimate how challenging it is to transition to living on campus and doing college on your own. So you'd really have to convince me to do 19 credits. You may come back after being really successful in the fall and say, Kathy, I can do 19 credits in the spring and then we'll talk. But we're going to try to get you between 14 and 16 credits. To graduate from UVM, you need a total of 120 credits, and that averages out to about 15 credits a semester. So if you're looking at a 4-year plan, at an 8-semester plan, you're looking at about 15 credits a semester. Now, you may study abroad and do fewer credits. You may do an internship and earn credit for that over the summer. We'll be working on your plan, which is a dynamic plan and a very individualized and personalized plan when you meet with your advisor. Okay, so the next steps. If you haven't already, I feel like, a broken record, but if you haven't already, please schedule your advising appointments or make arrangements to meet with your advisor. You're going to be checking your UVM email for information about that. You can also check out our new student resources page, which is the Rubenstein New Student Resources webpage, and you can look at the list of to-dos ahead of your meeting. There was a list in the response. If you did schedule your meeting, you got a response email that lists some of the things that we'd like to have you prepared for that meeting. And then similarly, you're working on your new student checklist from the orientation email as well, so that you're all ready and you've got all of your ducks in a row, all of your housing stuff, your dining stuff, all lined up, so you're ready to go come August. So for the 1000th time during this presentation. I want you to please reach out if you have any questions, and please ask for help. Part of that ask is not only to ask questions in class and be curious, but also ask for help, ask for support. At this point, you don't even know what you don't know. So, ask the questions. We can't help you unless you ask for that help. We're here for that. So get to know us, allow us to get to know you, and it's going to be a great year.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Kathy. At this point, it will be Q&As. We have until 7 p.m. to answer your questions. At this point, you don't have to remain online. Kathy will stop the